Let me tell you of the days of high adventure.
Hey there nation, welcome to the show where we help you to play miniatures wargaming on a budget. It is I, Commander CheapSkate, and we are back with another edition of the Golden Age. This is our series of Warhammer Fantasy Battle Reports, and this is Battle Report number 58. It is a 2,000 point battle that is fought between High Elves and Ogre Kingdoms. My friend Fresh Prince Bel-Air is bringing the House Lainel, the Silvery hosts of Caledor, and I'm bringing the Legion of the Hellmouth, my 2,000 point Ogre Kingdoms army. So I'm really looking forward to saying exactly what happens when I throw it down this one. So we're going to go to the army list real quick. If you want to see exactly what we're bringing, go ahead and pause and take a look at your own leisure. So with that being said, let's get this battle report on a roll.
Crom, I've never prayed you before. I have no tongue for it. No one, not even you, will remember if we were good men or bad, why we fought, or why we died. All that matters is that two stood against many. That's what's important. Balor pleases you, Crom. So grant me one request. Grant me revenge. And if you do not listen, then to hell with you.
Alright, so the scenario for this one is Battline. It is your good old-fashioned Warhammer Fantasy Battle Report, standard deployment, as well as standard victory conditions. So let's go over the battle plan real quick. We are playing on a 4x6 table. My friend Fresh Prince Bel-Air is deployed on the near side of the table, while I am deployed on the far side of the table. And pretty much my battle plan is to move as quickly as I possibly can across the battlefield and engage the High Elves as quickly as possible. I am playing an Ogre Kingdoms army, so the tactics for this one is very simple. Just get in, get stuck in, and kill as many as possible. It's a pretty simple strategy style. However, that town in the middle of the table is going to be kind of a problem because it kind of prevents my entire army from moving in en masse. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to try to divide up my forces. What I'm planning on doing is sending my Beast Claw Raiders on the right hand side, going around those ruins and attacking from the right hand side between the hill in the center, the bottom center of the screen, as well as that house is looking at the center of the screen as well. And at the same time, sending my powder gangers over to the left-hand side around that tower, around that barn, and hopefully try to connect as well. And hopefully all three parts of my army will meet in the middle. That way I can catch them in a full envelopment and destroy them that way, attacking them from 3 different points. I'm planning on sending my Ogre Bulls as well as my Iron Guts straight down the gullet between the space in the town, straight towards those High Elf lines. And that's pretty much the plan I'm going with on this one. So let's go talk about the deployment real quick for Fresh Prince Bel-Air. Over here on the left-hand side, on the top of the hill, he's got his Reigns of Caledor. Those are 2 Eagle Claw Blowthrowers. And right in front of them, that's Danny the Two Souls. That is a High Elf Mage, level 2 Lord of Beasts. He's carrying the Reaver Bow as well as carrying a Terranok Chariot. So that guy's pretty much killed out of the kill. He's also carrying a Dispel Scroll. Forgot to mention that too. And deploy the center is the rest of his army. On the left-hand side, that is the Silver Sentinels. That is a unit of 9 Silverhelm Knights with full command, with lances, heavy armor, barding, as well as shields. In that unit also is Tywin Lainel. That is a High Elf Prince. I believe he's carrying the Armor of Fortune as well as, sorry, not Armor of Fortune, Armor of Destiny. He's also carrying a Ogre Blade as well. So that guy is kit out for close combat. Right next to him on the right-hand side, in the front rank, that unit is the Dawn Guard. That is a unit of 23 High Elf Spearmen with full command. Leading that is Tanis Lainel, Captain of the Dawn Guard. He's a noble who's also a Battle Center Bearer upgrade. He's got the heavy armor as well as a great weapon and a shield, and that's all he's got there. On the right hand side, that is the Caledorian Rangers. That's a unit of 15 White Lions of Trace with a full command. And behind them, that is the Griffin Gate Guards. That is a unit of 24 High Elf Longbowmen, archers armed with longbows, and full command. And that pretty much makes up the entirety of his deployment on this one. Alright, so on to my deployment here on the left-hand side, that is the Powder Gangers. That is a unit of 4 Lead Belchers, which is Lead Belcher guns. No upgrades whatsoever to that unit. And right next on the right-hand side, that is Stankgum's Legion. Is a unit of 9 Iron Guts with full command, minus a champion. They got a Bellower and a Standard Bearer in that unit. They also got the Dragonhide Banner, as well as, Dragonhide Banner, so that way they get always strike last, as well as getting that Frost attack as well. Up in the front rank there, I have my 3 characters. Left-hand side, that is Korgold, the Spine Splitter. That is my Bruiser, who's a Battle Center Bearer upgrade. He's got a great weapon, Giant Breaker Big Name, as well as a Rune Maw. Next to him on the right hand side, that is my general, Taijin Khan, the Right Fist of Hell. He is a Tyrant. He's equipped with an Iron Fist. He's got Fencer's Blades. He's got the Greedy Fist. He also has Glittering Scales as well. And then right next on the right hand side, that is Burps of Blood. That is my level 4 Slaughtermaster. He's carrying armor to Silver Steel. He's also got the Hellheart as well. And that pretty much makes up my deployment in the front rank for my army on this one. And finally, on my right-hand flank, I got my unit of Ogre Bulls. Those are the Red Rovers. It's a unit of 6 Ogres with light armor, iron fists, and hand weapons. They also have a Standard Bearer as well as a Bellower. And right next on the right-hand side, those are the Beast Claw Raiders. Those are 3 Mornfang Cavalry with heavy armor, iron fists, as well as hand weapons. They also have a Standard Bearer in that unit as well as a Musician. And that makes it my right-hand flank for this one. So with deployment over with, we go directly to the top of turn number 1, and first Prince Belair and I roll off for initiative to see who goes first. Alright, so it goes directly to the top of turn number 1. This photo is taken after the movement phase, and as you can see, the High Elves actually got the initiative on this one. And so for the most part, my friend First Prince Belair starts moving his forces kind of tenderly forward a little bit. On the left-hand side, he actually marches up his Silver Sentinels with Time and Lainel over the left-hand side, right between that barn as well as the hill. He also moves Danny the Two Souls, moves in his normal 9-inch movement with his chariot to kind of support there on the left-hand side. At the same time, he also marches up his Dawn Guard as well as his Griffin Gate Guards. Those guys move up, sorry, not the Griffin Gate Guards, those are his Caledor Rangers. They move up their normal marching distance, moving up forward as well to take at the gap between the barn as well as the house there on the right hand side with the orange roof. And then right behind them, he's got the Griffin Guards, and they move forward just a normal 5 inches so that way they can get closer to fire with their longbows. And that pretty much makes up the move phase on this one. During the magic phase, he got a couple of spells off. First of all, he got the large version of Pan's Impenetrable, the boosted version of Pan's Impenetrable Pelt off with Danny the Two Souls, giving plus 3 strength, toughness to all the characters. So Time and Lainel has got 3 up strength, Danny the Two Souls got 3 up toughness, as well as the what's his name, Tanis Lainel of the Dawn Guard. He also has 3 up toughness as well. So that pretty much makes the magic phase. And the shooting phase, he concentrates fire with both of his bolt throwers, opening with multiple shots, managed to kill one of my Iron Guts, and managed to put 2 more floating wounds on another one. And that pretty much makes up the turn number 1 for the High Elves for this one. And that takes us directly to the top of turn number 1 for the Ogre Kingdoms, and this is my entire turn. All I really did was move forward. I marched up the Powder Gangers on the left-hand side to go around the tower. I also marched up the Stankum's Legion as well as the Red Rovers right through the ruins as well as through the tower, occupying the center of town. I also marched the Beast Claw Gladiators on the right-hand side, and they're kind of skirting around the side of the village, making their way to the High Elves. Now, my magic phase, I really didn't have one, and the reason why is because my opponent has his Archmage Taito Lainel, the Lore Master of Caledor. That guy has the Book of Asher, so he's got a 5 up on Dispels whenever he tries to cast a spell. Plus, you know, Hal is really good with magic anyways, so I didn't really have a match with magic phase. My only shooting elements were my Powder Gangers, and I marched those guys, and there was no close combat. So, pretty uneventful turn number 1 for the Ogre Kingdoms. All I really did is get myself in position to start making my assault forward. And that takes directly to the top of turn number 2 for the High Elves. This photo is taken after the move phase, and once again, the only real movement that really took place for the most part was on his left-hand flank. He marches up his Silver Sentinels with Time and Lainel as general. They move all the way to the left-hand side right next to that forest. It looks like he's planning on assaulting me on the left and maybe coming around and hitting me from behind, so that's kind of rough. And then, of course, Danny the Two Souls, the regular level 2 mage on the chariot, is giving him support as well. Now, the rest of his army, the infantry forces stay exactly where they're at because their flanks are defended. And why would they want to move? They're High Elves. They don't have to move if they don't want to. And that pretty much makes it the move phase on this one. So the move phase over with, to go directly to the magic phase. During the magic phase, my friend First Prince Belair commanded with authority, and the first thing he did is he cast Walk Between Worlds on Danny the Two Souls, moving him up 10 inches between the forest as well as the barn, giving a little bit of chance of charging forward with that Tyrannok chariot. So that's pretty rough. At the same time, Danny the Two Souls casts the Savage Beast of Horos off onto Time and Lainel, who's located in the Silver Sentinels, giving him +3 to his strength as well as +3 to his attacks. So that guy is now an absolute beast, hence the name Savage Beast of Horos. And at the same time, he also casts Pan's Impenetrable Pelt onto his Charioteer, onto his Mage on the Chariot, giving him +3 toughness. So that's pretty rough as well. The rest of the magic phase, that was pretty much about it. So with the magic phase over with, we go directly to the shooting phase. And the shooting phase, my opponent concentrates fire with his bows as well as with his Eagle Claw Blowthrowers, going for the multiple shot options. And I believe, yeah, he killed quite a bit of my guys actually. He killed, I think, 2 more of my Iron... No, Yeah, killed 3 of my Iron Guts. Ended up doing, killing 2 of them in the back rank and taking another one as well. So I just lost about 4 Iron Guts so far in this entire battle report. So things are not looking very good at this point. So with the shooting phase over with, we skip combat because there is no close combat. We go to bottom of turn number 2 for the Ogre Kingdoms. So this is a picture of the table after the end of turn number 2 for the end of the movement phase, and as you can see, I just start moving forward as quick as I can as well. This time I don't march with most of my units though. I march it with my Beast Claw Raiders, setting them for a good charge against the Caledorian Rangers. Looking back now, I might have moved my Mornfang Cavalry too close, because while that did put me in a good range to charge his Caledorian Rangers, it also put me within good range for his Caledorian Rangers to charge with me. And if anyone's ever played Cavalry before, you always know it is best to charge your opponent and not have your opponent charge you, because Cavalry's not effective being charged at. So I might have made a tactical mistake there on the right hand side. For the rest of my forces, I just moved up the normal 6 inches. After I marched up my Beast Claw Raiders, I realized that I'm not going to make that same mistake for the rest of my army, so I just move up my Red Rovers as well as Stankum's Legion only up 6 inches like I normally do, so that way I'm still close enough to charge but still far enough away where my opponent really can't charge against me. At the same time, I also move up my Powder Gangers up although they're normal 6 inches, because those guys are going to open fire with their lead belcher guns and hopefully take out some High Elves before those cavalry forces charge into them. During the magic phase, I did magic cast Bone Crusher off. I magic missile onto the Dawn Guard, managed to kill 2 High Elves, so not much, but you know, it's better than nothing, I suppose. And because I'm tired of losing Iron Guts to Bolt Thrower Fire, I decided to cast 2 other spells which I managed to get off. The first one was Tooth Cracker, giving my unit of Stankum's Legion +1 toughness. I also got Troll Guts off on that unit as well, giving them 5 up regen, so that part was pretty amazing as well. So with the magic phase over with, we go directly to the shooting phase. And in the shooting phase, I killed 6 of these Silver Helms right off the face of the table. I opened up and concentrated fire with all 4 of my Powder Gangers. I think I got something ungodly amount, like 18 hits, I think is what I ended up getting when it was all said and done. So because High Elves are only toughness 3 and my guns are strength 4 with armor piercing, needless to say, I chopped those guys down more than half, which is pretty awesome. And because of that, my friend has to take a panic check. Now, unfortunately for him, he is out of range of his Battle Standard Bearers, so if he fails his leadership test, he can't re-roll it, and he rolls an 11 for his leadership test. Which of course makes them panic and flee off the nearest table edge, and they rolled like a 13, so because of that they just go flying right off the table edge and they flee the battlefield because they don't want to see how this battle report is going to end. Netting me some really nice juicy points and getting rid of a general at the same time, which is pretty awesome. Luckily for my opponent though, Danny the Two Souls passed his panic check, so he just stands his ground and gets ready to bring on the pain. So with the shooting phase over with, we skip combat because there isn't any. We go directly to the top at turn number 3 for the High Elves. So this is the top of turn number 3 after the movement phase, and my friend Fresh Prince Belair decides to take the offensive. The first thing he does, he charges in the Caledorian Rangers, going right into my Beast Claw Raiders, so now my cavalry units are being charged at by some great axe-wielding High Elves, and that's always a bad thing, because my cavalry is not really good when it gets charged against. At the same time, he also charges forward his Charioteer, Danny the Two Souls, right into the Powder Gangers. Now, yeah, he's on a chariot, but I'm not really too afraid of him because he's only a mage, so he's not really meant for close combat, so I'm looking forward to killing this guy. And I also managed to put a wound on him too when he came over when I charged at me, because I decided to stand and shoot as a reaction. Alright, so here's a close-up of the Caledor Rangers charging directly into my Mornfang Cav, getting ready to fight those guys in close combat, so I'm pretty interested to see exactly how this combat goes. And here's a close-up of Danny the Two Souls charging directly into my Powder Gangers, and of course he takes a wound from me standing and shooting as a reaction. And that pretty much makes up the move phase on this one. During the magic phase, his power dice were pretty lackluster. However, he did manage to get 2 spells off. Those 2 spells were Penetrating Impenetrable Pelt, as well as Savage Beast of Horos. And now I realize why he sent this Charioteer charging directly into my guys, because this guy now have 3 attacks, so that because of that he's got 4 attacks now as a mage. He's at toughness 7, because he's on a chariot as well, and he's also at strength, I believe, 6 as well with this close combat attack. So this guy is a really kitted out to kill kind of individual now, and I realize I might have made a mistake standing my ground with my Powder Gangers against this guy, because he's going to chop through him like wheat through a field. And during the shooting phase, my friend's dice kind of failed him on this one. He tried to open fire with his longbowmen from the Griffin Gate Guards, and because they only managed to cause no wounds, because none of his shots from his longbows did anything. However, his bolt thrower, I think he only 2 managed to hit me in this one, and one of them managed to cause a wound, and that was about it. Like I said, my friend's dice just kind of abandoned him in the shooting phase, so not much really happened there in that case. So with shooting with, we go to the combat phase. As you can see in this photo, Danny, there's 2 souls, killed 2 of my powder gangers, as well as put 2 more wounds on a 3rd one, nearly killing this entire unit all by himself. I tried to counterattack, but unfortunately he's at a toughness 7, so because I wasn't able to cause any damage to him. Needless to say, I failed this combat phase by a landslide, so I have to roll double snake eyes in order to survive. But as you can see, I don't do that, so I flee. I think I run away like 5 inches. He pursues like 9, so that charioteer just runs down my powder gangers and kill them all to the last man, collapsing my left-hand flank at the same time. And now I realize I really have to pay attention more to this charioteer because he's pretty deadly right now. Meanwhile, across the battlefield is an absolute bloodbath between my Beastclaw Raiders as well as the Caledorian Rangers. In the end, I managed to kill 9 of the Caledorian Rangers. They also managed to put 9 wounds onto my Mournfang Cavalry, killing 1 guy and putting another 3 wounds on the other guy as well. So I believe my opponent won this combat by 2 because he beat me with a banner and went with a charge, is what they ended up being for the combat result. But because I'm within range of my general as well as my battle standard bearer, I passed with flying colors. I don't have to worry about running. So we'll be sticking out for another round of combat between these 2 sides. So with combat over with, go directly to the bottom of turn number 3 for the Ogre Kingdoms. This photo is taken after the movement phase, and as you can see, I decided to go for broke. I charged forward with all my remaining infantry units. I actually charged 11 when I rolled for the dice for my Stinkham's Legion, so because of that, those guys cause D3 impact hits when they go up against the Dawn Guard, which is going to be really, really helpful to break that unit. At the same time, I also charged in the Red Rovers directly into the Griffin Gate Guards. I think I rolled a 9, I think was what I ended up doing, just missing it by 1 point to get the D3 impact hits. But you know, 6 impact hits is better than nothing. So my 2 infantry units go crashing directly into his other 2 infantry units, and I engage those guys into close combat. Everything else, of course, is engaged in close combat, which is on the right-hand side, which is my Beastclaw Raiders against the Caledorian Rangers. Here's a close-up of Stinkham's Legion engaged with the Dawn Guard as well as the Red Rovers going up against the Griffin Gate Guards. So I'm pretty excited to see how that combat goes because these guys are squishy core choices, and these guys are only toughness 3, so I should be able to just put the pounding on these guys. And here's a close-up of the Beastclaw Raiders going up against the Caledor Rangers, and this one is a toss-up. It can go either way. I'm pretty sure it's pretty much even drawn as far as I'm concerned. Now, during the magic phase, my magic phase pretty much got canceled by my opponent. He managed to deep 6 it with all of his spell dispelling abilities because he's high elf, so there's no magic phase. We also skip the shooting phase because I have no more shooting elements in my army, and we go directly to the combat phase. And it is to say, in the combat phase, it ended up being an absolute slaughter for my guys as well. They managed to kill off my last of my, not the last of my Mournfang Cavalry. They killed one of my standard bearer. I managed to put the last 3 wounds on that guy, so they managed to kill him. I only managed to kill 2 Caledorian Rangers. So needless to say, he actually wins this combat, and I failed my break check. And his Caledor Rangers run forward and just smash down the rest and killing the last of my Mournfang Cavalry in the process of them charging like that. So that part was kind of sad. However, because I dropped these guys less than 25% though, he will need to take a leadership test of Snake Eyes in the next turn. If he fails that, he's fleeing off the battlefield, which is perfectly fine with me because those are some nice juicy points if I manage to get those guys off the table edge. Now, close combat between the Red Rovers as well as the Griffin Gate Guards was totally a bloodbath. I just murdered a bunch of High Elves like it was going out of style. I managed to kill 9 High Elves out of that unit. They only managed to kill, I don't think they only managed to put 3 wounds, actually, now I think about it, onto my army. They killed my 1 Ogre Bull that was carrying a wound already, so they killed him, and they all put another floating wound on the 2nd Ogre Bull. And I just curb stomped these guys by killing 9 of them. Now, I won this combat by a landslide, but unfortunately for me, though, my opponent rolled Snake Eyes on these guys, so the Griffin Gate Guards are still holding their ground. However, the same cannot be said about the Dawn Guard. As you can see in this photo, I killed 24 of those High Elves in total, 23 Spearmen as well as the Battle Standard Bearer. After the impact hits, I think I managed to kill 6 or 7 from impact hits alone, and then I issued out a challenge with Taijin Khan, my general, my tyrant, and Tanis Lainel, the Captain of the Dawn Guard, answered the call, his Battle Standard Bearer. Needless to say, I curb stomped that guy and killed him because of my Fencer's Blades as well as my Greedy Fists, so that part really helped out as well. And the rest of the attacks were just from the rest of the attacks of my Butcher as well as my Bruiser and the remaining, and the 3 Iron Guts that are right behind them. So needless to say, I won this combat by a landslide. He needs to roll Snake Eyes in order to stay, and unfortunately for him, he did not do that. He fled 4 inches, I pursued, and I rolled a 6, so because of that, I charged forward 6 inches and chopped down the last of the Dawn Guard, landing the last man, putting up a wonderful charge quarter between my Iron Guts of Stinkham's Legion straight towards those bolt throwers. Alright, so that takes us directly to the top of turn number 4 for the High Elves, and this photo is taken after the moon phase. And for the most part, the only thing he really does is he sends up Danny the Two Souls. He actually has him come around and move forward 8 inches, I'm sorry, 9 inches, so that way he can start making an advance towards the back ranks of my forces. His Griffin Gate Guards still engaged in close combat with the Red Rovers, and the Caledor Rangers failed their panic test, and now they ran over like another 11 inches to the right hand side. So those guys are fleeing off the table because they don't want to die to the last man. My opponent's magic phase was non-existent because I was able to dispel his spells from Danny the Two Souls. However, during the shooting phase, he did manage to kill another one of my Iron Guts. Once again, he kind of rolled kind of poorly for his 2 bolt throwers. I believe they went with a single shot is what they did, is when they ended up having. One shot went wide, the other one only killed one of my Ogres, and that was pretty much about it. So his shooting phase over with, it go directly to the combat phase. And the combat phase ended up being a massacre yet again. The Griffin Gate Guards did manage to put 2 wounds onto one of my Ogre Bulls, so that part was kind of sad. However, I managed to kill, what was it, 10? Yeah, managed to kill 10 of those archers right at the same time. So needless to say, these guys are taking a break test now because their banner standard is no longer there, and he flees. He flees back something like 11 inches, and I just stand my ground and do a real quick combat reform to face the other direction, so that way I can face off Danny the Two Souls. And that pretty much makes it the combat phase on this one. And it's also at this point, ladies and gentlemen, my opponent decides to call again because he realizes he's not going to be able to pull this one off. So because of that, as you can see, I pretty much killed all the forces left on the High Elf side. Only thing he has left is his Charioteer as well as his 2 bolt throwers. His white lines are fleeing, and of course his archers fled as well, just because they weren't going to come back. So we just took them off the table. And that pretty much ends the combat on this one. So with that being said, ladies and gentlemen, we're going to go directly to the after action report because this battle report is now officially over.
Sure, I could have stayed in the past. Could have even been king. But in my own way, I am king.
Hail to the king, baby.
Alright, now it's time for the After Action Report. This is the part of the battle report we talk about what went well, what went poorly, and what we plan for the next time that we do battle. This is the After Action Report for the Golden Age Warhammer Fantasy Battle Report number 58, and it'd be a victory for yours truly. For my losses, I lost my Powder Gangers as well as my Beast Claw Raiders. Fresh Prince Bel-Air lost Lord Tywin Lainel, the Warden of Caledor, Titus Lainel, the Lord Master of Caledor, Tanis Lainel, the Captain of the Dawn Guard, the Griffin Gate Guards, the Silver Sentinels, as well as the Caledorian Rangers. This was a really tough fight. I'm not really going to lie about that. I lost half of my army during the course of this battle. I don't have very many units, and my units don't have very many models in it because I'm playing Ogre Kingdoms, so every single model I lose is actually kind of a big deal because I'm losing multiple fighters if you think about it, if I was fighting like a normal army on this one. I'm starting to realize now that I have to get comfortable with taking larger losses with this army if I'm going to be able to pull out a victory, just because they have lower weapon skill and ballistic skill and leadership, so if they don't break and flee, their low weapon and ballistic skills are not going to give them as much of an edge in close combat or in shooting for the most part. Now, while that is low for those armies, what makes it up is their high strength and toughness. So, and while I'm on that subject, high strength and toughness basically won me this battle as well. I was able to create more casualties, especially from coming to the higher strength, against the High Elves due to their lower toughness. High Elves are toughness 3 across the entirety of their army list, so I'm strength 4 as base. So because of that, it really helps out. Plus, I got multiple attacks every one of my miniatures, and each one of my miniatures has multiple wounds, so that's where it kind of gets balanced out a little bit. Now, on that being said, Danny the Two Souls, the lore of Beast Mage on a chariot, is frightening to go up against. I didn't realize how dangerous that guy could be, especially if you buff him up with Penance and Penetral Pelt, as well as Savage Beast of Horos. Having that 3-up toughness, strength, and attacks, that guy was extremely deadly. Just destroyed my Powder Gangers without a second thought. So if I ever fight against that guy again, I'm giving that guy a priority because that guy was pretty deadly. Not having a magic phase in this battle report also really hurt me a lot too, because I couldn't really buff up my units. I took a lot of casualties of Stankgum's Legion from the shooting attacks. I couldn't get off Toothcracker, I couldn't get off Troll Guts. I did try to use Brain Gobbler to cause a panic test, but that didn't do anything because these are High Elves, and High Elves don't break for nothing from normal panic attacks. So because of that, it was pretty bad for that one. He was able to control the magic phase for the most part, so I kind of sucked. Now, when I defeated the Silver Sentinels as well as the Caledorian Rangers in the flanks, I realized I pretty much had this battle. And the reason was because First Prince Bel-Air's center was made up of really squishy core choices, so I was able to charge to those guys to the battle line, destroy them for the most part, and then I could just kind of, go after his units one by one after that. Needless to say, this was a very fun game. It's an excellent opponent. I am looking forward to the rematch against Fresh Prince Bel-Air. He's a good guy to play against whenever you get a chance. So, as always, guys, please feel free to comment and or subscribe. Your guys' input is invaluable to us as always. Also, check us out on Facebook, Instagram, as well as blogger.com for all latest grades and channel news for the hobby aspect of our channel. That's good to do for this one, you guys. We'll catch you guys in the next one. Peace out.